husband suspected his wife of cheating on him and decided to catch her in the act. He asked her to take a week off work and stay at home. One day, while at work, he called her and asked, "Where are you?" She replied, "I'm in the kitchen." He then asked her to turn on the blender and she did. The next day, he called her again, asked her to turn on the blender and she did it again. On the third day, he called again and she replied with the same answer and turned on the blender once more. He decided to leave work early to catch her in the act, but when he got home, he only found the child at home. He was confused and asked the child, "Where is your mom?" The child replied, "I don't know. As soon as you left, Mom took the blender and wife drew her husband's attention to the couple next door and said, "Do you see that couple? How devoted they are. He kisses her every time they meet. Why don't you do that?" The husband replied, "I would love to, but I don't know her well enough." The husband has been missing since then. A woman went to the pet shop and immediately scouted a large, beautiful parrot. There was a sign on the cage that said, $50. "Why so little?" she asked the pet store owner. The owner looked at her and said, "Look, I should tell you first that this bird used to live in a house of prostitution, and sometimes it says some pretty vulgar stuff." The woman thought about this, but decided she had to have the bird anyway. She took it home and hung the bird cage up in her living room and waited for it to say something. The bird looked around the room, then at her and said, "New house, new madam." The woman was a bit shocked at the implication, but then thought, that's not so bad. When her two teenage daughters returned from school, the bird saw them and said, "New house, new madam, new girls." The girls and the woman were a bit offended, but then began to laugh about the situation. Moments later, the woman's husband Kate came home from work. The bird looked at him and said, "Hello, Kate." Maid asked her boss for a raise, but never expected this to happen. Maria maid asked her boss for a raise. Her boss is annoyed and asked, "Now, Maria, why do you think you deserve a raise?" Maria, "Well, Senora, there are three reasons why I want a raise. First, I iron better than you." Wife, "Who said you iron better than me?" Maria, "Your husband says so." Wife, "Oh." Maria, "The second reason is that I am better cook than you." Wife, "Nonsense. Who said you were better cook than me?" Maria, "Your husband did." Wife, "Oh." Maria, "My third reason is that I am better lover than you." The wife is obviously upset. "Did my husband say that?" Maria, "No, Senora, the gardener did." Wife, "So how much do you want?"
400 passengers but only 200 meals were loaded onto a flight from somewhere in Australia for the long flight to New York City. So, the airline had bungled, and the crew was in a fix. However, one smart flight attendant had an idea. A couple of hours into the flight she nervously announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, we don't know how this happened, but we have over 400 people on board, but only 200 dinners. Anyone who is kind enough to give up their meal to someone else, will receive unlimited free liquor for the duration of the flight." Her next announcement came 6 hours later. "Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone wants to change their mind, we still have 180 dinners available."
An old blind couple walks in an old Budweiser bar by mistake. He finds his way to a bar stool and orders a shot of Jack Daniels. After sitting there for a while, he yells to the bartender, "Hey, you wanna hear a blunt joke?" The bar immediately falls absolutely silent. In a very deep husky voice, the woman next to him says, "Before you tell that joke, cowboy, I think it is only fair, given that you are blind, that you should know three things. First, the bartender is a blonde girl with a baseball bat. Second, I'm in a 6-foot tall, 175 pounds blonde woman with a black belt in karate. Third, the woman sitting next to me is a blonde and professional weightlifter. Now, think about it seriously, cowboy. Do you still want to tell that blunt joke? The blind cowboy thinks for a second, shook his head and muttered, "No, not if I'm gonna have to explain it 5 times." A woman went with her husband to the doctor's office. After his checkup, the doctor called the wife into his office alone. He said, "Your husband is suffering from a very severe disease, combined with horrible stress. If you don't do the following, your husband will surely die. Each morning, fix him a healthy breakfast, be pleasant, and make sure he is in a good mood. For lunch, make him a nutritious meal. For dinner, prepare an especially nice meal for him. Don't burden him with chores, as he probably had a hard day. Don't discuss your problem with him, it will only make his stress worse. And most importantly, you should satisfy his every whim sexually several times a week. If you can do this for the next 10 months to a year, I think your husband will regain his health completely." On the way home, the husband asked his wife, "What did the doctor say?" "You're going to die," she replied.
A man receives a phone call from a woman while he is at the gym. Woman: "Hi honey, it's me. Are you at the gym?" Man: "Yes." Woman: "I'm at the shops now and found this beautiful leather coat. It's only $2,000. Is it okay if I buy it?" Man: "Sure, go ahead if you like it that much." Woman: "I also stopped by the Lexus dealership and saw the new models. I saw one I really liked." Man: "How much?" Woman: $90,000. Man: "Okay, but for that price I want it with all the options." Woman: "Great. Oh, and one more thing. I was just talking to Janie and found out that the house I wanted last year is back on the market. They're asking $980,000 for it." Man: "Well, then go ahead and make an offer of $900,000. They'll probably take it. If not, we can go the extra 80 grand if you really want it." Okay. I see you later. I love you so much. Man: "Bye. I love you too." The man hung up the phone. The other men in the locker room were staring at him in astonishment, mouths wide open. He turned and asked, "Anyone know whose phone this is?"
The local priest, Father Ted, is driving his car down a small country road when he suddenly spots a nun waiting at a bus stop. He pulls over and offers her a lift. The young nun thanks him and sits down in the passenger seat next to the priest. The poor priest can't believe his eyes when he turned to introduce himself to the nun. She is amazingly beautiful, and for once, the priest lost for words. "Hello, I'm Sister Grace," she says, visibly amused at his reaction to her. "Hello, I'm Father Ted," the priest says. He can feel the blood rushing to his face, making it red. As they set off, the nun shifts the passenger seatbelt and her gown opens slightly to reveal a lovely leg. The priest glances down and nearly has an accident. After getting the car under control, he can't help but put his hand on her knee, slowly sliding it up her leg. "Father, do you remember the psalm?" The nun looks at him and immediately says, "Father, remember Psalm 129. The priest gets flustered and apologizes profusely. He forces himself to remove his hand. However, he is unable to remove his eyes from her leg, and while changing gears, he let his hand slide up her leg again. The nun once again says, "Father, remember Psalm 129. Once again, the priest apologized. "Sorry, sister, but the flesh is weak." Arriving at the convent, the nun gets out, gives him a meaningful glance, and goes on her way. On his arrival at the church, the priest rushes to retrieve a Bible and look at Psalm 129. The psalm said, "Go forth and seek. Farther up you will find glory." Moral of the story: always be well informed in your job, or you may miss a great opportunity.
Back when I was in school, I was really bad in mathematics. During exams, I get between 2% and 8%. The results used to be announced in order: This is from the lowest to the highest marks, so I would always be the first or second to be called out and punished. One day the maths teacher announced the results and my name was not among the first to be called out. The teacher got to 30%, 40%, 50%, 60% and 70%, still my paper had not been called out. Everyone kept looking and asking, "Catherine, what's up? How am I?" Just keep on. By the time the teacher got to 90%, I was already grinning in excitement. When she got to 90%, only one paper remaining. I then asked myself, could I have 90% in maths? I was very anxious and happy now. It was obvious my dreams and prayers have been answered. The whole class was amazed as everyone kept looking at me. It was unbelievable. Finally the teacher looked up and said, "One idiot did not write his name on the paper and she scored 0%. I just fainted.